All right, you guys. So Ticket TV live streams, like, share, subscribe as y'all tap in. Let's get right into this video, man. I want to talk about this morning because somebody wants the NBA to be transparent with this entire situation. There are a lot of powerful people behind the scenes, whether it be owners or people within organizations or corporations that want this to be a public and truly thorough investigation. The reason why I say that is because Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers were investigated in 2019 and were cleared. And then the NBA league commissioner, as we know, they approved that deal with aspiration. They had to approve it, a deal that size. All the deals of the league, they have to approve. But Mark Cuban said something. The first time he had a conversation with Pablo Torre, and he did another one today. But the first time he had a conversation with Pablo Torre, Mark Cuban said that Aspiration, that company, tried to do a deal with him and the Mavs, and he said he immediately sniffed them out and saw what they were about. That's what Mark Cuban said on the record. He said, "Nah, he didn't do the deal. He immediately sniffed them out." So they didn't pass Mark Cuban's sniff test, right? Uh, but the league came out and approved that deal. Think about this. Then once they get in trouble, what's the first thing that Adam Silver comes out and does? I've never heard anything about this. I've never heard anything about aspiration, period. Then, when he's exposed and Pablo puts out there, what do you mean you know anything about it? The league had to know. You guys had to approve this for this deal to be at that label. Pablo already exposed that. The league had to approve it. Then, the commissioner, Adam Silver, comes back out and says, oh, no, 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 no. I mean, I knew about it in the context of, you know, they had a deal, you know what I'm saying? They had to get it approved at the league level, deals that size. But I didn't know that they were. Once he did that, everybody was like, man, this dude is cap. Talking about the commissioner, right? Everybody been slamming him and calling him out. From Dan Lebatard to all the other journalists who no longer work at ESPN, who are, we already know what's up, man. You know what I'm saying? But here's the good thing about Pablo. Pablo has a lot of good people behind him that are pushing him to make sure he keeps this public. They are not sweeping this under the rug. They're making this a public investigation. This is the reason why he's getting all of the insiders to stand up and help him. They want this exposed. If it didn't want to be exposed, nobody would have gave Pablo all that paperwork and he wouldn't have been able to do no inside investigation. Pablo is able to do all the investigative work he's doing because Pablo has nine inside sources from inside of Aspiration. Now he met up with Mark Cuban face to face and stir fried Mark Cuban's ass again today. Now, Mark Cuban, I already told y'all, he's doing this about cap. And he asked Mark Cuban about all those discounts Dirk took. Mark Cuban, like he was shaking in his boots when he asked him about that. Mark Cuban sent up there denying it, acting like he didn't know if the other league teams are offering Dirk contracts. All cap. Shaking in his damn boots. Talking about he ain't talked to the commissioner. He ain't talked to none of these people. And I'm telling y'all this, right? Adam Silver is he's getting exposed in all this. Some of the NBA teams, in my opinion, and I'm just telling y'all what I think, they do not like how Adam Silver has moved in this situation with the Clippers. You know, I believe particularly one of the main teams are the Toronto Raptors, being the way that they lost Kawhi Leonard, meaning they had to give up asset to get Kawhi. They got Kawhi and won a championship, then lose him. When they offered Kawhi a 5-year, $190 million max deal. Then you lose him to the Clippers for $141 million. But guess what? Kawhi Leonard has a deal with Aspiration for $48 million, which would cover the other money he would have lost by leaving Toronto if you add it up figuratively like that, right? Kawhi's in trouble, bro. Now, in 2019, the league allegedly did an investigation and they cleared the Clippers, even though multiple teams were out here stating that Kawhi Leonard's uncle was asking for illegal shit, right? And then all of a sudden he signs with the Clippers. Now all of this stuff comes out, right? Even though you had the Clippers have that lawsuit where the Clippers got sued and Jerry West got sued. Over what? Over this entire situation. Think about this. Now Kawhi Leonard's out here playing in all these preseason games when the heat is on him. Man, I told y'all, the man's name is Kawhi. This is you can't even make this shit up. Now, when the heat is on him, everybody watching, now you got to take your ass out there and play all these games. Normally, Kawhi Leonard hadn't played before this year a preseason game since October the 17th, 2023. Normally, Kawhi Leonard would not have played the first preseason game. I don't even think he'd have played the second. He'd have probably played the last one or two preseason games. He out here for the first preseason game now. All that load management shit. But I thought he was really hurt. I thought he had degenerative knees. How's he out here doing this all these years later when 4 or 5 years ago, everybody was crying about he had degenerative knees and couldn't do it. He literally couldn't do it. Cap. Fucking cap. Cap. He's going to get exposed, and they want the league to get exposed too. The league is shitting bricks over this entire situation because it ain't just that the feds are involved. Now, do I think that the league is, they may have approved the deal, but didn't do due diligence in approving that deal? That's on the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver. Once again, Mark Cuban said that aspiration came to him, try to do a deal with the Mavs when he was owner of the Mavs. He said he immediately sniffed them out as being not legitimate, shut it down. But his buddy, who's supposed to be the smartest guy ever, Steve Ballmer, he ran right with it. And then the league approved it. But if Mark Cuban couldn't, if he figured it out and he wouldn't do a deal with him, why would the league just go in and do that deal? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Right? A lot of the NBA people from these different teams know what's going on with Kawhi and Uncle Dennis. They tired of that shit. They want this to be public. This is the reason why Pablo has been able to do all this publicly. It has shaken up the league. Adam Silver even admitted the only reason why they're doing this investigation was based off Pablo's finding, not theirs. So you mean to tell me all this information was out here in the public and the NBA wouldn't get tipped off, but Pablo would? No, they wouldn't tip off the NBA. Why? Because they don't think the NBA would do anything about it. Who do? You tip off independent media. Somebody that's credible in independent media. And by the way, Pablo says that he's probably going to be investigating the New York Knicks next. He said that today. Right? It's funny how Mark Cuban sat up there and said he thought that was kind of, not on the up and up, the deal with Jalen Brunson and the Knicks. And that he was mad that they only took 1 second-round pick for the Knicks over Jalen Brunson. But you see, he's sitting over here allegedly capping for Steve Ballmer, which I don't think he's doing. I think he's setting Steve Ballmer up because if you listen to the end of the show today, and Pablo said, hey, man, I'm going to have you back again. And Mark Cuban was like, hey, man, you got some more stuff? Hey, hit me back. And then the last thing Pablo said is, hey, man, you may get your wish. Pablo's still sniffing and scratching. Pablo's still gathering information. And I believe the next time Pablo drops an episode on this, it is going to be the Yokoshima BOMB WMD on their head. But somebody behind the scenes, as far as the NBA teams are concerned, is helping Pablo. And within the aspiration, he has 9 employees that have helped him. They want this to be public so that the league does not have deniability. Nobody can deny anything. That's why all this information is being put out to the public, so all the fans and them can see transparency. And there is nothing that can be hidden behind the scenes in an investigation and put away. This is bigger than the money of Clippers owner Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer has some people in the NBA upset with how he's been moving. They're the ones that's helping Pablo, along with those people behind the scenes. They want all this put public, step by step, so the league cannot come back and say, oh, we didn't find anything mysteriously. No, Pablo already put it out here in the public. And Pablo has a couple people that are loyal to him within ESPN that are willing to ask questions, like Ramona Shelburne, when they took the microphone from her when she was at the Clippers press day, media day. She's got a couple people at the highest levels that are going to roll with him on this, because Pablo has a lot of friends in the industry as far as his field of journalism. The Clippers are in big trouble, and they know it. And now the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, with all these moves he be trying to make to get more money for the league, all these dumbass moves, he may be caught in a do-low twist as well. He may need to go ahead and step down as commissioner based off of the findings. We'll see. But for him to come out immediately and say he didn't know anything about aspiration and all this other stuff, and then after he get exposed by Pablo, because Pablo came out and reported this, everybody's acting like this is new. This is not new. Pablo reported this from the beginning, that for a deal the size of aspiration, the NBA had to approve it. That is when the commissioner came back out and was asked again and said, no, I didn't mean it in that context. I meant, I knew, but I didn't, I had heard of them, but I didn't know. So it's either two things. The league didn't do its due diligence on checking aspiration because there were a lot of warning signs. Even Mark Cuban saw them. Or is there complicity with the league just because they thought it was a situation where they can get money and they didn't vet them good enough? They just said, okay, they put up $300 million. Okay, cool. Let them through. hmm They better hope that Pablo, because I'm going to tell y'all something. When you look at Lynx and you look at Adam Silver and you look at Steve Ballmer, Adam Silver's been very lenient on Steve Ballmer, especially from the first time what happened with DeAndre Jordan. He only fined him $50,000. You find a billionaire $250,000 for breaking these rules. Think about what I just said. He has been very light on Steve Ballmer. So Steve Ballmer got caught in a situation with DeAndre Jordan. He only got fined $250,000 to a billionaire. That's like 25 cents. Then they allegedly investigated them in 2019 and found nothing. So no, we don't find anything after the Toronto Raptors and Lakers reportedly came out and said that Uncle Dennis was asking for illegal shit. He signs with the Clippers. They do an investigation, don't find anything, no finding, nothing. Even though there was a lawsuit from Johnny Wilkes, the friend who played high school basketball with Uncle Dennis, who came out and blew the whistle on all that shit and basically admitted the deal he had with Jerry West and the Clippers over them getting Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, it's all coming. It's all coming out. It's all coming out. Remember, I told you guys on the front page of the Toronto Star, they definitely are on Kawhi's helmet. Right? Right? So it's going to be hell to pay. What you don't know is a lot of people are pushing for Pablo to blow all this shit up. And I'm going to tell y'all something. The NBA commissioner should be investigated, in my opinion, as well, about this entire situation from beginning to end. He should be investigated. And his links, if any, his links to Steve Ballmer should also be investigated. All right? Let me look this up right now. See, you have to look up all the links between Steve Ballmer and Adam Silver, right? Because remember, in 2019, Silver, he expressed his support for Steve Ballmer's efforts to build that new Intuit Dome arena. Oh, and by the way, you guys, I almost forgot to tell you this. This was exposed today about Kawhi. And I'm going to show you guys why Kawhi's in a lot of trouble. So Kawhi Leonard had a few deals, you guys. But the aspiration deal was the only one he didn't do any work for. The Clippers also had another sponsor. The name of that was Honey. Kawhi did promotion for Honey. That was on the record. But why didn't Kawhi Leonard do any type of promotion or any type of work for aspiration? We have Kawhi Leonard doing work for his other sponsors that was in the public. In the public eye. Honey. The sponsorship that Kawhi Leonard had with New Balance that he has. He does work, does commercials for all those. But why not aspiration? Mm-hmm. His guilty motherfucking ass gonna get caught. He's a lie. And all lies will get exposed. All of them. So he can say clickbait as much as he want with his capping ass. But you can't clickbait those signatures. You can't clickbait these text messages. You can't clickbait these wire transfers, buddy. So you can use that word to the public, but it only works to niggas who ain't got no brains. Not ones who do. And this one, he's not going to be able to escape. And if you go listen to Pablo Torre's interview with Mark Cuban today, he stir-fried Mark Cuban, but go listen to the very last thing that he said to Mark Cuban today. You may get what you ask for when you ask for more evidence. See, somebody is making sure that Pablo gets all of the information he needs. Because remember one thing. I want everybody to remember one thing. You don't play with billionaires. Like Pablo says, the Clippers have not shown one iota of evidence to debunk anything he said. They have not been able to debunk anything he said. And not only that, the Clippers are not suing Pablo Torre for slander or defamation, lying on the franchise, fabricating documents, or any of these other things. They're not. Kind of telling. The LA Clippers are not suing Pablo Torre. If Pablo Torre was lying, Steve Ballmer would have came out here and ran his ass through the mud. But he can't do it because Pablo is a good dude. And most people can vouch for him, and he has a lot of people that support him and like him. So it's nothing they can do to him without blowback. They're in trouble. And you better believe that shit. Pablo exposed Mark Cuban today. Aspiration announced every other person they had signed on endorsements, except for Kawhi Leonard. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, in this game, y'all, tickets the motherfucking king, nigga. And the king stay the king. You remember that shit. Because when it's all said and done, we go see what's what. Holler at ticket. I be in the cut, right? Hey, I really appreciate you guys for supporting the channel, supporting the network. Like, share, and subscribe once again. There are links. Get the free membership on our website. That way you guys won't miss any of our news update stories or videos. They're all on the website, ticketvmedia.com. You go over there. You can go right to the members part and become a free member. That way you guys will get all the updates. Also, straight drought weight loss formula. Make sure y'all go tap in and copy some of that, as well as subscribing to our podcast show. Link will be pinned at the top of the chat down there below. And also, we just appreciate all y'all who support the channel. Cash App, PayPal.